Last time on Delightful Travelers, we arrived in Sicily to the beautiful city of Palermo, but not everything went according to plan. In this video, we make our way around the city on the hunt for the absolute best street food.
I'm Trevor, and this is Anna. In this series, we'll be tackling the south of Italy. Join us in our adventures by clicking subscribe and hitting that like button. A huge thank you to our channel members and patrons for making these videos possible.
I'm on my way now.
We're in Palermo, the capital of Sicily, and what better things to do while you're here than eat? More specifically, we want to eat some street food.
And it just so happens that Palermo is extremely famous for its street food, and we also happen to be hungry, so let's go.
There are so many people in this city and so much food to try. We settled on a place called Cafeteria Del Corso. We're gonna try a dish called Granita. This is the first time for us. It was hard to pick what to start with, but we decided on this.
That being said, Granita is actually a typical breakfast food here in Sicily, so it seems like the perfect thing to start with. Take a look at this. Basically, Granita is a shaved ice with different types of flavoring on it. We went with strawberry. There's whipped cream on the top, and then it comes with a side of brioche bread. Before I actually try it with the bread, I just want to try it itself, basically.
Messing it all up.
So first off, in case you couldn't tell, it's a really, really hot day, and this is oh so refreshing. The strawberries are absolutely delicious. This isn't any sort of like syrup or something fake. This is like real strawberries with ice, whipped cream on top. It's super cold and refreshing and delicious. I don't think it gets any better for this for breakfast. This is my new breakfast go-to.
All right, now I'm going to take a piece of this brioche. Man, this is so soft and fluffy, and I'm gonna dip it in here. Now, I've never dipped bread in kind of like, it almost looks like ice cream, so it's just messing with my head, but let's just try it out. This is such an interesting clash of flavors. You have the little crunchy bits from the shaved ice, and you have kind of a smooth, really rich whipped cream. The strawberries are so sweet, and then you have this fresh bread. I'm not sure why we've never dipped bread into something like this before, but I know from here on out, we're going to. This is delicious. What a way to start the street food tour here in Palermo.
Wow, that was so incredibly good. There's a good chance that I might eat that every day for the rest of the time here in Sicily. Where have you been all of my life, Granita? However, it's time to go on to dish number 2 and see if we can find it.
We're trying to focus on food here, but we're getting distracted by all the gorgeous architecture, but we might have found the next place right here.
This is a place called Solo Patate. They actually do specialize in potatoes here, and one of these dishes, we do have 2, is actually a potato dish, but the one we're starting with here is not. It's actually a chickpea croquette in the form of a panino. You can actually get the chickpea fritters by themselves, but I think it's pretty normal, especially around lunchtime, to get them as a sandwich. And then over here we have little potato croquettes.
So this is an interesting dish because there's absolutely no toppings on this sandwich. Just the chickpeas, just the bread. Now, I believe this goes back to the Arab days actually, so we're gonna have to try it out. Let's go. Oh wow. First off, I'm going to say that it's a really dry sandwich. Now, I know that might be a turnoff for a lot of you, but don't let that fool you because it's all very fresh ingredients. The sesame seeds on the bread, first of all, that comes through right away. The bread is very fresh. We are in Italy after all. And the fritters are good. You can see like they're golden, crispy, very salty. It's interesting. I wonder if people ever put any kind of toppings on this thing because I feel like it could use some. I would guess it's not going to be my favorite food of the day, but it is a good one.
So let's try these little potato croquettes. They are called Crocche, which I'm assuming just means croquette. They're made with, obviously, potatoes. There is some parsley in there, and apparently some mint as well. It sounds super interesting. This is quite simple, but really, really good at the same time. So it's very, very crispy on the outside, and then kind of like mushy potato-y on the inside. I find the herbs in there are pretty subtle. It's got quite salty as well. Both of these dishes that we've had right now are really, really basic, really simple, but quite delicious. And as we already said, we got one as a sandwich and one just on its own. I'm pretty sure you can get the fritters and a sandwich as well, or you can get it combined with one sandwich with the fritters and croquettes. Well, so far we're doing really, really well. I'd say we are 3 for 3.
Yeah, I'd say 3 for 3. Now, don't worry, there's more food coming up in just a moment. If you happen to be liking the video so far and you're new, make sure to hit subscribe and like the video because that helps us out. Also, we don't just do food videos for anyone that's new around here. We're exploring lots more of Sicily and Italy. Of course, we'll be going to beaches, other cities, towns, and, well, more food. So we're here at the end of August for all you guys that are wondering, and this place is packed. Do you remember the name of the road we're on?
I think it's called Via Maqueda. It's like the main pedestrian street here in Palermo, and it's always packed, at least in August.
Next up on the list is a place called Sfrigola. You can see them right in the window making what we're about to try, which is Arancina. We're super excited about this one.
First off, can I just say how nice it is to be sitting here on this beautiful pedestrian street in Europe, and you see what's behind me, this beautiful view. It's just so beautiful. But our Arancina has arrived. Yes, Arancina at home in Canada or the US, you probably are used to hearing arancini. I think arancina is just the feminine form of that word, or maybe it's singular, I'm not quite sure. But it's basically a deep fried rice ball. We actually ate one in the last video, a ragu style. This one's a little bit different.
Well, look at the size of this thing. This has some weight to it, just like in the last video when we tried one of the more traditional ones. Now this one, they call it the Burro. There's some, I think, just ham and mozzarella, so it sounds pretty plain. It's nice and crispy. You can't hear that because outside it's a little bit loud, but it's nice and hard, and I bet it's crunchy. Whoa. Oh yeah. Yes, yes, yes. This thing is so interesting. You can see there's like little chunks of the ham. I wasn't expecting that they were kind of cut up like that. It's loaded with rice, and I think the white sauce is bechamel sauce, which makes it just ever so rich in flavor. Now here's the fun thing about this, it's made to order. We had to wait a little while for this. On the last video, they were kind of ready to go. This one, it took about 5 or 10 minutes to cook this big guy.
I can't get over actually how hot this is in my hand and how heavy it is. I know we said that in the last video when we tried it. I think all the arancina here in the city, whenever you order it, super dense, super heavy. Lot of weight to it, a lot of probably calories, and it fills it. One of these will really fill you up. It's like a full lunch basically. I'm glad we're splitting one today. It's also, this one, the ones in our last video were very easy to eat. This one seems to want to fall apart, and maybe that is because it's just so fresh. They literally made it right here. For some reason, music just kicked in. It's really loud. I'm gonna have one final bite here if I can do it.
You mentioned calories, but I don't think there's any calories in this, do you?
We have just come over to a place called Cannoli to get a Cannolo. You can see them inside making it. This is another one where things are made to order. I think at a lot of bakeries around here, you just find them pre-made, but here they make it however you want it.
All right, so what is this guy?
So this is a very classic Sicilian dessert. It's basically like an outside pastry. I don't even know what to call it, but inside they stuff it with ricotta cream. Here you have various different options. One is just plain ricotta. There's chocolate, there's hazelnut, there's orange. We went for pistachio, and then there's pistachio nuts on top and a little bit of sugar.
I'm extra excited to try this one because it is the first, well, true dessert of the day. I know we kind of ate dessert for breakfast, but this is a proper dessert, and look at this, how decadent it looks. I've never seen anything quite like this one, so let's just go for it. Oh no. I'm not sure what I exactly expected to happen with that bite, but I expected the kind of shell part to be crunchier, but it just kind of fell apart, so it's really flaky. The ricotta almost is like, the consistency is kind of like an icing, but you can really taste the pistachio. This is a very good sweet treat because it's not too sweet, it's just nice and rich in flavor, and it kind of comes at you right away on the first bite. I'm curious to see what Anna thinks of this one.
Now I'm not even sure how to attack this without making a huge mess, but oh well. Wow, not at all what I expected. I think I thought it was going to be like super sweet, and it's not, and I really like that because I don't love super sweet desserts. A little bit creamy, definitely taste that pistachio. I wonder what the actual like classic tastes like. It's probably just pretty basic. And like Trevor said, I expected this to be like super crunchy. It is a little bit more flaky, a little bit of crunch to it, but not a whole lot. I really like the pistachio bits on top too.
All right, so it's now a little bit later and you can see things have calmed down a bit. I think it's almost like siesta time. There's some people around, but we're still hungry. We had a little break in the middle of all this.
We had a little break because we did eat a lot, in case you didn't notice, but we do have one
Yeah.
dish left to find. Well, the last stop of the day is a place called Spinato. I think it's a bit of an institution here in Palermo, and it's been around for quite a long time. It's also very, very busy. It happens to be aperitivo time, so we of course got some Aperol Spritz, which we always love. And something you have to love about Italy is during aperitivo, we have lots of little like snacky things.
Yeah, this is so fun. Look at these little kind of ham.
Mushroom?
Yeah, bread. We got some chips, fresh almonds, but this is what we came for.
I am sure I'm gonna butcher the name, but this is called something like Sfincione or Fincione. It's basically Sicilian style pizza, kind of a takeout type thing. It's basically their own version of pizza though. It's got a much thicker crust than you'd find in, say, Naples. I actually read that they sometimes leave it to rise overnight.
One thing I find interesting is you don't see a lot of cheese on there, huh?
There's not a lot of cheese, and I think the sauce is made with tomatoes and maybe anchovies.
Well, I know one thing for sure. I've never had pizza that looks quite like this. It smells like it's going to be salty, if that makes any sense at all. But look at the crust, and look how thick it is. Let's just go for it. Well, to be honest, the first thing I noticed is that this doesn't really taste like pizza at all. It's more like flatbread with really fresh tomato sauce on it. Doesn't mean I don't like it. I do. It's delicious. The anchovies. Let's talk about the anchovies. Now, for all of you that follow our channel and that are subscribed, you know that we're not hugely into seafood, but I don't really taste them on here. It's not fishy or anything like that. And I think a lot of you would say, well, it's going to be salty. It is a little salty, but I definitely don't taste anchovies. If I didn't know anchovies were on this, I wouldn't even guess that they were here. But it is good, but it's definitely not my favorite style of a pizza, if we're going to call it that. But I do like it. Not my favorite food of the day. I think we've had better, but I'm still going to eat it all.
Well, Trevor didn't 100% sell it to me. One thing I do want to point out is that when I read about it online, a lot of people compare it to focaccia bread as opposed to pizza, although it is, you know, like I said, Sicilian style pizza, but it's a little similar to focaccia or flatbread.
Now that you say that, it actually makes a lot of sense. It does taste like and looks like focaccia bread.
Okay, so I will say I really like the pastry aspect of it, like the bottom part of it. It's super fluffy, not overly crunchy. However, Trevor was just talking about the anchovies. He didn't notice it at all. It's the first thing I noticed. It has a smoky, slightly fishy flavor to it. Not a fan at all. You guys, anyone that's watched this for a while know that I have a really hard time with anything fishy, and I'll only eat fish if it tastes nothing like fish. Basically, if it's the least fishy thing ever, he always has to test it out for me. This one, a little too fishy for me.
Well, if you asked me before coming to Italy if street food was going to be something we would challenge and take on, I would say I wouldn't believe you.
Yeah, you can probably picture big bowls of pasta.
That's what I picture.
Yeah, but no, there's a really great street food scene, obviously. We barely touched upon it. I found lists of so many different types of food, but it was really good. I think favorite for me, Granita. Oh,
yeah,
so
we were discussing right before we turned on the camera for this kind of final scene that, what was our favorite of the day?
Yeah, I like the Arancina. Yes.
Arancina was really good, but I think the very first one we had was our favorite, and we've eaten street food all around the world now, many different countries, and I think this is up there.
Oh, definitely. That was really fun, really delicious.
I have a feeling it's also going to not be the last time we have street food. Well, at least you guys will not. It will be the last time you see us eating some street food, that's for sure.
That's for sure, yeah.
So, if you're new around here, once again, Trevor, Anna, Delightful Travelers, we love that you are watching the video. Click subscribe. We have a lot of Italian adventures coming up. If you're not new, thanks for tuning in, and a special thank you to all of our Patreons and all of our channel members. You guys mean the world to us, and you help us keep staying on the road, right?
Yeah, and lots more, speaking of staying on the road, lots more content from here in Sicily. I think in the next video we're going to be in a smaller town.
Yeah, we found a little town close by. We won't spoil it yet, but we're going to take the train there and
pretty cool, though.
See what it's all about. It's time to get out of the city, so stay tuned for that.
All right, guys, that's it.
From Palermo, wishing you delightful travels.
See you soon.